I mean, there's really nothing better than a wedding and diaparo tsa lenyalo. Everyone dressed to the nines in a style that you've never seen them quite put together with the help of some experts. And that's exactly what happened in IMBEWU. Zitulele and Nokuzola are getting married on the show, right? And with us today, we have the man who's an icon of South African style and fashion behind the famous Mandela Shirts and, of course, designing the dress for Zitulele and Nokuzola's wedding. And Sonwabile Ndamase is with us this morning. We're not worthy. Good morning.
Good morning to you as well, Pat.
And I mean, it's so incredible to meet you because this iconic style of shirt, maybe that's a place that we can start, has really captured the imaginations of everybody in the world. So tell us how that first happened, the Mandela Shirt.
The process of the Mandela Shirt was an epic one, which one can never explain it thorough in some words, but it's something that embodies in one's heart at this point in time, because how I met the icon man, Nelson Mandela Adalibunga, and through the wife, which was Unomzamo Winnie Madikizela Mandela, whom I happen to know from, we come from the Pondo region, right, which is Mampondweni. So that on its own, then when I was introduced to the family at the time, it was something that I never thought of, because coming from the rural environment and coming into Johannesburg, a city of gold, and find yourself mingling around with the queens and the doers and the politicians and all those kind of people. So the Mandela Shirt then, when I met Utata, and then he narrated the situation of how he would have loved to see looking into the world through the eyes of the fashion this time around. And it was something that was overwhelming to me. I even actually crippled at the floor when I had to meet him, because I remember at the time that the humor circlers would sing and said, "Bring back Nelson Mandela, bring back home."
And
I want
then
to see
he
him
was
walking down the street with Winnie Mandela. And I met them both at the time, and I was still alive. And I'm still alive again.
Absolutely, to tell the story.
To tell the story now.
To tell the story. And I think it is such an iconic desire to stand out and use every faculty as some sort of statement, which is what Madiba was doing with these shirts. So can I be a little bit controversial? Now, are these respectable, honorable members ever phoning you? Because their suits, and Sonwabile, their suits are like this and like this and like this. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, please. No. What happened, you must understand that politics plays a role in the terms of how fashion as well evolved.
Absolutely.
So therefore, in the era of Madiba, one of the things that has to play a role is that Madiba wanted to be accessible to the masses and be accessible as well to the captains of the trade, the economists, and so forth. So how do you then, at the end of the day, break that norm of the haves and the have-nots?
Absolutely.
So he had then to be in a position that he will leave from the boardroom and go and address the masses with immediate effect, as our president would use that word.
Right.
So that then created an ambient of having to create a scenario that how can a president be accessible and a president of the people at the time that is most needed? How can therefore dress accordingly, because clothes are symbol. They tell who you are, where you're coming from, and where you are going to.
What an extraordinary tale right? It sounds so far away, but this was our guy,
Yes,
you know, post 94. This was really an iconic moment, and it's incredible that you've been able to share that part of the story. Let's talk about some of your expansions as well, because you're not a one-dimensional designer. Let's talk a little bit about your foray into designing for television. Is it different? Do you get a brief in a similar way to, you know, a regular client or a Madiba would give you a brief? How does it work, for example, for this IMBEWU wedding?
It's a kind of a similar way, because you are dealing with a human being at the end of the day. You are dealing with characters. And therefore, how do you then create and being given a brief on a character of a person that is going to embody a particular lines, and then take those lines that you will be or she will be alluding into the public and utilizes the dress as the image. And therefore, I was given the brief as well around that to say, and fortunately, for Nokuzola, comes from my rural environment, from the Amampondwe.
Of course, yes.
She comes from Onyauzo, Tahlo, Ndayeni. So Isimpondo then, I had to bring in my cultural, to bring back my signature of where I come from, but tweak it into the modern of a lady like you today.
So, for example, as Musutu, I would wear my Mudianyewe, or I'd wear, you know, Siana Marena. As Mpondo person, what would the cultural what would the icons be? Now,
I had to make it a point that I do not lose the colors of the Amampondo.
Yes.
So that, because that's what even the international world does, when they steal from us, they take what we will know. This is us. So I have also, because of my traveling and understanding, so I have to utilize that and bring it over to Nokuzola, so that she can be the queen, you know? She has to be the queen and embodies the Amampondo for the first time.
So those colors,
bringing
those
them,
beads.
those colors, those beads, the headgear as well has to make it a point that it gives the queen of Amampondo for the first time, because Amampondo has never been represented in the mainstream, have never been represented to be known. We are known as people using us as people who likes to joke, who goes deeper in terms of the language, and others, they will think that we are swearing when we speak, but we are speaking who we are. So therefore now looking at Nokuzola, and also make it a point that the husband as well, how we dress the husband up must be sort of neutral, not over than what you call our queen.
To let her shine.
To let her shine,
because the environment.
Because this is her space.
Yes.
This is where women mostly have a signature. It's only when they get married where they take the crown. So as a husband, you just only become an accessory into that particular space.
So I must ask, we always ask the writers, why should we watch the show? We'll ask the actors, why should we watch the show? But as the designer of this incredible wardrobe, why should we watch the wedding on IMBEWU?
Come on. You've just only saw the pictures and then you went, wow.
Yeah.
That is what is going to be happening. Come and see how the whole entourage of Amampondo do things, our culture. And I thank the producers for having gone that kind of a deeper research in bringing in how different cultures can emerge together and create something that is unique for any other person. So if ever you miss IMBEWU now, or you've missed it, with all the dialogues that have been happening and all those other things that have been happening. But anyway, IMBEWU on its own,
Yes.
it's very, very innovative.
Brilliant.
And on its wedding, apart from the wedding on its own, but the narrative that goes there at IMBEWU is very exciting because those are some of the things that are happening on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, I cannot wait. And that is Sonwabile, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you very much for having me as well.
That's iconic South African designer Sonwabile Ndamase with us on the morning show. Make sure you catch that iconic wedding on IMBEWU. Right now we take a short break. We'll be right back.